Hello and welcome back to EV Platform. And today we are talking about the brand new Niro EV. Now, Derek was lucky enough, he was flown over to Kia headquarters in Frankfurt, Germany. So he's had hands on it, he's seen it live. Now, the e-Niro has been a great seller since it came out. Owners love them. But there's an all new one coming with 3 different powertrains. But we've only got eyes on the all electric Niro EV. Stay tuned for the details and stick around because we're going to be discussing whether or not Kia have done enough with this. So we were lucky enough that Derek was actually there at the launch. Derek, give us the highlights of the car first of all. You know that 20-second elevator pitch. Tell us about it.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is the third generation K platform. So this is the same platform that they're using on the HEV, the PHEV, and the BEV. And that just means, so it's a new generation. It's got added insulation because one of the things with the original one was a bit of extra road noise that people weren't happy with. And then 52% of Niro sales previously have been all electric. So definitely they've got a winning combination here.
Okay, 52%. I did not realize it was that high. And I'm really surprised, positively, pleasantly surprised at that. Because it wasn't exactly the most beautiful vehicle on the road. I liked it, but it wasn't like, so this one, aesthetics, it's a little bit different. Obviously, it's had a big facelift. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's got that digital tiger face that we talked about before when we looked at the Kia EV6, and they're bringing this across all of the brand. It's got a kind of a double cowl setup between the windscreen and the top of the dashboard. So the top of the windscreen and the bottom of the windscreen, it's got that double cowl section. It's got a very controversial aero C-pillar, or the blade C-pillar, some people are calling it, and it has a contrasting color if you want it in that contrasting color as well. So good list of colors. There's 9 different colors you can go for, and you can personalize it by that C-pillar as well, whether you want it in grey, black, or body colored. And there's different trims available as well. So aesthetically, I think it's definitely a step up. I didn't mind the originally Niro, as we were calling it, but now it's all the Niro EV. It's the new name, and it's going to be the name globally.
Okay, and that's the outside now. But tell us a little bit about the interior. What sort of what's it look like inside? What sort of space we were getting, etc.
Yeah, so it's a slightly longer wheelbase, so you're getting more room in the front and in the rear, and it reminds me of that Kia EV6. It's the same kind of dual panel curved screen, and also it has that dual touch panel that converts it between air conditioning and heating over then to media control. So a lot of elements of the Kia EV6 that are coming through, and maybe that's just Kia's new design language in that center console. You've got a lot of gloss black going on. So if you sat into an EV6 and then sat into this, you'd go, okay, this is the same family of car.
Yeah. Okay. And tell us a little bit then about the tech inside. Okay, we know what it looks like now, but what sort of tech screens, etc.
Yeah, so it's got a couple of dual screens, 10.25 inches, I think. I think they're slightly smaller than the actual Kia EV6 ones. You have vehicle to load technology, which was the same on the Kia EV6. You've got the option for a head-up display, depending on what trim level you go for. With that vehicle to load pack or trim level, then you're going to be able to have a 3-point or a domestic outlet in underneath the rear bench. You've got remote parking assist that we talked about again with the Kia EV6. It has the power tailgate, and then there's a lot of different driver assist. I hadn't got a chance to drive it yet, and hopefully that will happen soon. But it's got the adaptive cruise control, lane keep, all that kind of good stuff as well. So yeah, tech-wise, it's fairly packed out, and it's holding its own in that competitive landscape.
Yeah, yeah. And you're talking about driver's assist now. Are we going to be going that fast that we need driver's assist? What sort of motors and power are we talking about in it?
Yeah, you're talking a 150 kilowatt motor. It's 255 newton meters of torque. Speed limited to 167 kilometers, which we're never going to see here in Ireland, Blake. But I have had a couple of people comment saying, "Oh, I'm sorry that it's limited to that because I'm living here in Germany." But they are first world problems right there. And 0 to 62 miles an hour or 100 kilometers an hour in 7.8 seconds. So not super fast, but you know what? Fast enough for what we need, getting the kids to school and heading down to the shops.
Absolutely. 167 kilometers an hour is fast enough. Now, if you go any faster than that, you are going to be throttling that battery. Tell us a bit about what sort of batteries in it, how range
So
and stuff.
battery wise, it's a 64.8 kilowatt hour battery. So respectable. It has a WLTP of 463 kilometers. And if we're looking at the original Niro EV or e-Niro, as we call it, It was near enough to that. It was always fairly on point with it. Drag coefficient with that aero C-pillar of 0.29, and it has destination management with regards to if you're destination battery preconditioning if you use the inbuilt satellite navigation. So it is going to heat up the battery to get it to that optimal temperature. CCS charging, obviously, which is great. Towing of up to 750 kgs. It has 17-inch wheels as standard, and they're the only ones that come with it. You can put your own ones on it, whatever size you'd want. And the overall weight, and this is where the efficiency of the Niro EV will come into its own, because that is that bit lighter. It's 1.7 tons. It's not over the 2-ton mark like the Kia EV6. So definitely that lighter EV will help with the efficiency and the range.
Yeah, and that was one of the great things, wasn't it, about the Kona and the e-Niro, as we used to call it, was that efficiency. It would just and it blows the EV6 and the Ioniq 5 out of the water in terms of efficiency. But as you said, weight is a big factor in there. All right, so we've had a good look around the new one. Let's just kind of talk about now, how does it compare to the older one? Have they done enough to move it on? Derek, you were there, you saw it live, you're at the launch. You're lucky, I won't say any more about that. But what's your opinion?
I really like the styling. I think they've done it. They've taken a great leap forward with the styling. The other one was getting to be a bit dated now, and they're even selling them. They've sold out of them this year. So the other one was great value, great range, and the styling was good. Yeah, not bad. But the new one, I really like it. I love the contrast aero C-pillar. And I think the fact that it's a small bit longer, and that's where the original Niro was getting a bit, the rear cabin space was a small bit tight and the boot was a small bit tight, whereas now definitely those couple of extra millimeters or centimeters or inches, whatever country you're living in, I think they've done everything they needed to do. And again, we're talking about the MG ZS long range and the refresh that they came out with recently. They've ticked the boxes that I think needed ticking. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, I'm in agreement, and I'd probably go even a step further. So I'm not in the position that you are, because you were there, you saw it, you got hands on it. You're going to understand a little bit more. So I think your opinion is probably more valid. But just looking at some of the specs and the details on paper, and as you say, it's a little bit bigger inside. We're challenging 500 liters of luggage space, which is absolutely fantastic. But the V2L bringing that in, extra bit of tech inside it. The range has been bumped up. So they haven't just upgraded it to, as you say, a 2-ton vehicle with more space and bigger batteries. 64.8 kilowatt hours. That's going to be plenty. Like, just to talk miles as well, because I know a lot of people watching this are going to be. I'm pretty sure that for 6 months of the year, where I'm based anyway, where it's fairly temperate climate, I'm going to be getting more than 300 miles out of a charge on that. And even if I jump on the motorway for a little bit, it's still going to be well above 200. That's pretty good. And then aesthetically, design has really improved. The old one, I hope I didn't upset people by saying it was a little bit underwhelming. It wasn't the most beautiful. That's not to say it was bad looking, but the new one is a lot edgier. They're sticking with their design language, and I think it's pretty good. So Derek, any final words before we wrap up on that? On the
small bit of negativity around the DC charging. We didn't get the official figure in the press releases, but it's just around that 72 kilowatt hour. DC charging of 72 kilowatts. So a bit underwhelming, but you know what? With such great range, unless you're living on the motorway and you've got the ability of having super fast chargers. I know here in Ireland we are predominantly 50 kilowatt units, and so it's small bit on that. And otherwise, I think it's going to be a huge success for it. When the original Niro came out, people found it difficult to get them, so hopefully they'll make enough of them now that they know the demand. And I think this is a more ID4 competitor versus the EV6, which I think is a bit more premium, especially with that price point as well. So I think they're onto a winner here if they can make enough of them and get them out to the dealerships.
Sure, but in defense of those speeds, and I'm a little bit underwhelmed as well, but they've apparently increased the cobalt content in the battery. They've doubled it. So they're talking about much less plating in colder weathers, and that it'll hold those charges, especially with preconditioning if you're navigating to a charger. So when they say those speeds in the early 70s, maybe you actually will get that for most of the year if you want, which is not what you can say about a lot of other cars out there at the moment.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing, as always, as the same as you, Blake, lots of these on the road.
Anyway, we hope you enjoyed today's video. Give it a like if you did like it, and subscribe while you're at it. Anyway, this has been EV Platform.
Thank you very much for watching.